By now, online, you've probably seen these cool, like, historical interview-type videos where you take, like a modern-day YouTuber or interviewer and you put them into famous historical scenes. So today, I'm going to do a quick how-to tutorial on how to do this using Gemini 2.5, using Veo 3. It's Veo 3 fast, so the quality is a little bit hit or miss, but it's pretty fun to make. If you see this one here,
part of your breakup routine?
I prefer the term drastic marital restructuring.
it's pretty funny, and it listened to the prompt exactly. There are a few issues. I mean, if you look at their mouths, they're a little bit distorted. But I like how they're playing Candy Crush on the side thing over here. That's part of the prompt, so that was pretty fun. So the prompt on this one is a richly adorned throne room, a YouTuber sitting on a velvet bench talking to King Henry. Behind them, they're all gossiping, and one's playing Candy Crush on a lute-shaped phone. And a banner that reads Hot Takes with Henry. Now, there is an extra R in the Hot Takes with Henry, so, we're not perfect here, but we're close. But what was fun about this prompt is that I did also add the audio prompt. And you know what? This is the first one out of all of them that it nailed it. It nailed the interview and didn't mess it up. So I have about 4 other historical scenes I'm going to show you. There's some good parts here. There's definitely some misses. But altogether, pretty entertaining, pretty fun. So, if you've seen this trend online, this video will be helpful to you to see, exactly how to do that. So, I went over to, ChatGPT, which always helps me write my prompts. I said, hey, I've seen these types of videos online. Help me write a prompt that's going to help. And, I always will tell it exactly what tool I'm going to use, so it knows exactly how to write these prompts. And because it knows I was using Google Veo 3, it also included an audio prompt, which, as you can see, worked out well with this interview. So, all right, let's look at some other ones here. Here's the whole prompt. So I started with the visual, and then there's the actual interview back and forth. So now we got Shakespeare. So outside the Globe Theater at dusk, Shakespeare with a quill behind his ear, in a director's chair, sipping a coffee labeled Ye Old Brew, and a modern YouTuber in a hoodie with a boom mic, asking about some choreography in Romeo and Juliet. So it says Romeo and Juliet in the background. Here's Shakespeare. Here's the quill in his ear. You've got some modern lighting here with some ring lights. Let's see how this one worked out.
So for this reboot, I'm thinking perhaps a tragic misunderstanding involving a misdelivered text message.
Groundbreaking.
So for this reboot, I'm thinking perhaps a tragic misunderstanding involving a misdelivered text message.
Groundbreaking.
So for this reboot, I'm thinking
this isn't at all what was in the prompt that was said, of what they want the actual person to say. So that was a little bit frustrating. But it still ran with the original prompt and the original idea and gave us some dialogue that was interesting. So that shows the AI's thinking on its own. It's not just waiting for its own prompt. So that's all right. But that's where I said, it's kind of funny. And, Veo 3 is funny like this sometimes, where it'll listen to your prompt pretty closely, and then sometimes it'll kind of just run with something. Now, here's one that was frustrating. I wanted to do that King Henry VIII, and it held on to the previous prompt of a Nefertiti. My wife just told me how to say it. Queen Nefertiti from Egypt, sitting on a throne with a floating mic, a YouTuber wearing a pharaoh-style sunglasses, and, it's saying, hey, you're setting standards for beauty with your skincare routine. But instead of her answering with this, it goes to the queen, and she kind of finishes the line. So it's a little bit kind of off.
Queen N, you're still setting beauty standards 3,000 years later.
You see how
What's
it
your
switches
skincare
the person,
routine?
and it's a one line. But I guess we're trying to fit in a lot for 8 seconds.
Queen N, you're still setting beauty standards 3,000 years later. What's your skincare routine?
So it doesn't look too realistic. It looks kind of animated.
Queen N, you're still setting beauty standards.
But then, let's look here. I gave it a new prompt, and then it came and just tried to do the previous prompt again. Let's see this one.
Queen N, you're still setting beauty standards 3,000 years later. What's your skincare routine?
So, and the thing hanging under her chin is kind of hanging low. So this scene, it missed. But luckily, this first scene here wasn't bad. So I did a Roman Colosseum, bustling with energy, and I did a modern-day YouTuber in sweatwear with a mic interviewing 2 gladiators. And, it didn't listen to the audio prompt. It didn't take the exact dialogue that I put in there, but it's also way too long. So, hey, that's my fault. So it added in something that I thought was pretty clever, but not exactly the same. Like, the first prompt that I gave, it followed the dialogue perfectly, but I guess that's because I kept it short and sweet enough. So here's the one of the gladiator.
So tell me, what's it really like facing down a lion with just a trident?
It builds character and calluses.
So tell me, what's it really like facing down a lion with just a trident?
It builds character and calluses.
It's clever, character and calluses, and he definitely looks like a modern day YouTuber with his yellow hoodie and blue hair. You've got the Colosseum, but then you've got like modern people with bags over their shoulder and stuff. So it's like a good blending of both, the ancient and the newer world. So, but pretty fun. So, this is just a start. And again, when you're using Google Gemini 2.5 here, you're only using Veo 3 fast. So if you want to really deep dive and make these really good and get into it, what you do is go on over to Google Flow. You have to have enough credits for it, but Google Veo 3 quality uses 100 credits per output, but you get a much better output. But at least, hey, this is getting us halfway there. If you have any other, famous things that you've seen online that you want me to try to recreate, let me know, please, in the comments. Let me know what you thought about any of these, which one was your favorite. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. Also, every Monday, Rosh and I talk about 20-30 minutes at the Creative AI Show. We talk about how we're using AI tools like this to help out our creative endeavors and our clients. Until then, we're two creative guys talking AI.